I just loved building tech products. That was the whole thing. Be it mobile app, web app, or anything. If it is a tech product, I love building it. If I have to learn something new, I mean, that is fun. That is a hobby for me. Because these days, people like to call themselves specialist of one particular thing. They are like, I just want to do backend. I love backend. I hate front end. They say, I hate mobile app development. I just want to do machine learning. Or I just want to do this new LLM thing that is coming up. But my question is, why? When I started my journey as a software engineer, my main goal, my main motivation was to build mobile applications. That was my core goal. I wanted to just have a bunch of applications of my own on App Store and on Play Store. I was just so much passionate about mobile development and mobile apps that it was like a dream of mine. But once I started jumping into development and once I started jumping into programming and stuff, I figured that building mobile apps is not that straightforward. You have to learn a bunch of concepts, you have to have understanding of complete software development lifecycle to build mobile apps. So I started just learning programming and development step by step. I started learning basic programming, C++, Java, and then when I was in third semester of my university, I started learning Android development using this book called The Big Nerd Ranch Android Development, and it was an amazing book. I was able to learn so many concepts and so many core principles of software development that I still use those basic concepts to this day. One of the very good things about that book was I was able to understand the core concepts of software development. I was able to understand the folder structure, the different design patterns, different adapters that we can use to communicate data between different components. And at that time, my programming and my software development skills were not even that high. I was just learning and I was just reading that book for the sake of it, and I just wanted to absorb that knowledge even though I was not able to understand half of that stuff. Like in that book, there was this concept of adapters, and adapters are necessary in Android development if you have to create lists. There is recycler view, and then there are adapters that can link the data with the UI. In these days, it's a lot easier. You have declarative UIs, but back then it was just recycler views, adapters, and view holders, and all of that stuff. And it was really hard for me to understand those concepts, but I just wanted to learn those concepts so I can build something of my own. And that was like a 600 pages book, and I think that was the first book that I ever read. So basically, I read that book and I learned the skills of Android development, and built an application of my own. And that is when I thought, okay, now I have a good enough skill set, so let's just start freelancing now. So I started freelancing and I started with basically desktop app development. I was providing all kind of programming and software development services, but most of the projects that I got were related to desktop apps, web scraping, and Android development. Now, keep in mind that my main motivation was to build mobile applications. But when I got the opportunity to build web scrapers, I was like, sure, I don't have any experience with that, but I'm happy to help out and add that to my skill set. And then when I got the opportunity to build desktop applications in Java using JFrame, I think, and JFX as well, and JS Spring, I think it was called the Spring FX, something like that. It was the library of Java. So I used that opportunity to add desktop app development skills to my portfolio as well. And then once I got the opportunity to build like Python based desktop applications, then I was like, sure, let me just learn that as well. And I would love to do it. So by the time that I was, I think in seventh or eighth semester of my university, I was doing freelancing in mobile applications, desktop applications, and web scraping. At that time, I never got the chance to build full stack web applications. So it was really hard for me to comprehend that why do we need backend basically. I mean, if you guys have ever worked on mobile applications, then you guys might be able to understand what I'm trying to say here. Because basically, in mobile application, in native Android development, you have to build the business logic in the same code base, and you have to build the UI in the same code base. And most of the time, mobile developers are using Firebase or Amplify. That is what I was using as well at that time. So in my mind, I could build the whole application within the same code base. So why do I need to build separate backend and then do API integration with a front end application? Because in my mind, I could do all of that in just one place. So I was not able to comprehend. I was not able to understand that. But then later on, I got this opportunity to do a web-based project, and that is when I started building some Node.js based with Express API backend application, and then I connected that with a front end which was built on React, and that is when I got some understanding that okay, this is how the backend and front end works. This is why we need API. Now by that time, I had these four things in my skill set: mobile, web scraping, desktop applications. So I was doing all of it, and I was not trying to keep myself confined to one tech stack, to one niche, to one expertise. I never wanted to call myself a mobile developer or a web developer or a front end or a back end developer or just a web scrapper. I mean, that was not my goal. I just loved building tech products. That was the whole thing. Be it mobile app, web app, or anything. If it is a tech product, I love building it. If I have to learn something new, I mean, that is fun. That is a hobby for me. That used to be my weekend thing. I used to learn new frameworks, new technologies over the weekend. And near the end of my university, I got another project where the client had the requirement to integrate some AWS service into the mobile app that he wanted me to build. Now, before that, I had no experience of AWS, and the only thing I knew about AWS was it's cloud, and cloud is complex and it's not for beginners. But I was like, okay, let me just get this opportunity and see if I can help him out. I told the client that, okay, I have not worked on it before. I have never worked with AWS before, but let me just help you out, and I'm confident that I can do it. And he was like, sure, let's just do it. I gave him the estimate of like 25 days, and I completed the project in 22 days. And the project was live, the app was on Play Store and an App Store. So, with that project, I added AWS to my skill set, and now I could easily jump from one service to the other and learn them as needed. And while working on that project, I explored various services, because when you have to integrate one service in one AWS service into your app, you touch a lot of other services as well. I touched Amplify, I touched Cognito, Recognition, S3, IAM, etc., etc. Now, after I graduated, I got the opportunity to apply to different jobs, and I got six different job offers. Why? Because my skill set was too diverse. I was applying for mobile app and web app and any other skill set that they were asking for, and I was passing the interviews. Why? Because I just loved doing everything, mobile, web, cloud, back end, front end, anything. So I got a lot of opportunities, and I chose some, and then I went move forward with them. I mean, those are different, complete different stories that I have mentioned in my previous videos or on my LinkedIn. But why I'm telling you guys all of that? Because these days people like to call themselves specialist of one particular thing. They are like, I just want to do back end. I love back end. I hate front end. They say, I hate mobile app development. I just want to do machine learning, or I just want to do this new LLM thing that is coming up. But my question is, why? I mean, you are an engineer. Whatever a client is asking for is an engineering problem, and you as a software engineer has to solve that engineering problem for a particular client. The client don't care if it requires back end, front end, if it requires integration with some third party service, or if you have to build your own third party service. It's your responsibility as an engineer. Consider yourself in a customer's shoe. If you go to someone and you have a particular problem and you ask them to fix that problem, and then they say, okay, I can do like 20% of it, but for rest of it you have to hire five other people. Okay, I can do this 40%, but for the rest of 60% you have to hire three more people. And you are like, man, I just need this problem solved. Why do I have to hop on and find six different people? And then you will end up finding someone who is willing to take on responsibility of the whole thing. Now, I don't mean to say that you don't have to focus on specializing on a particular skill set. You do have to specialize on a particular skill set, and you do have to strengthen your engineering. But just because you are specializing on one thing does not mean you cannot learn other things as well. Does not mean you can specialize on multiple things. Remember in the start, I told you that I learned Android development using a book. Now, the concepts of Android development are very different than the concepts of web development. But overall, it's software development, it's engineering. Just because I learned Android development properly through a book, my software development mindset, my mindset to structure the project properly, to organize things properly, was already defined. The ground was so solid that even when I was working on some web based projects where the structure is very hard to maintain, I was following structure because my brain was wired that way. I just wanted to build nice and cool applications in a structured manner. I just wanted to write beautiful code, and I just wanted to write a beautifully structured code base. And I think this varies from person to person as well. If your goal is to just excel at one particular skill, let's say machine learning, then you don't have to care about anything else. If your goal is to just excel at front end development, then you don't have to care about anything else. But my goal was always to build an agency. I wanted to build a company. I was not sure if it was going to be an agency or a product company, but I knew that I wanted to build a company. And if I want to build a company, I have to be skilled at multiple things. I have to be good at multiple things. Having surface level knowledge of a lot of things is not as good as having expertise in a lot of things. I can still build mobile applications and I still review code base of our team members. I can still build web applications. I can still explore and work on a bunch of AWS applications, and I help my team whenever they have some kind of problem with AWS or with deployments, with CI/CD pipelines. I never shy away from it. Whenever there is something new, it's a tech problem, it's a technology problem, and I'm a technologist. I like calling myself a technologist instead of a specialist. And the good thing about being a technologist is you are not biased. Because when people start becoming specialist, they start to develop a liking for one thing or the other, and they start to hate the other thing. They are like, I love doing backend, but front end is, I mean, it's just okay. Or like, I like doing machine learning, and like web development is not on my level. But brother, why? You are a technologist. You have to solve client's problem no matter what it is. Okay, and this was my goal. Maybe if that's not your goal, maybe it doesn't suit you, that's fine. But that was my goal, that I wanted to solve client's problem. For that, I have to be expert, I have to be skilled on multiple things. And at this moment, that is helping me a lot. The term specialist automatically creates another term which is called generalist. And generalist is not a very positive term. I think that right term for it is technologist. If you are a technologist, it means you can do everything related to technology. It means you can solve every tech problem. Your mind is open for technology. If you are a specialist, then what happens when that technology, when that particular specialized area becomes redundant, right? I mean, there were a bunch of people who were specialized in creating landing pages. Their niche was so much defined that they just wanted to develop good landing pages. And then all of these awesome no-code tools came up. Webflow and Webflow, Bubble, and all of those tools that can build the same landing page in quarter of a time, right? So being a technologist gives you a breathing room to explore different technologies as well, to learn different things as well. You can solve problems without being biased toward the technology. So that's my take, and that might be true for me. That might be true for like 10% of you. And this video is for those 10% people, for the people who like to do everything, for the people who like to be a technology lover, for the people who are a technology lover. I just wanted to shoot this random video to give my opinion on this specific topic of being a generalist, being a specialist, and being a technologist, which is my opinion. I hope this helps, and I would love to have any contradictory opinions or feedbacks in the comment section, and would love to see what other people have to say about this approach. And if you think being a specialist is the way to go, drop your comment in the comment section down below, and I will respond right away. If you like this video, then don't forget to click the like button. If you are passionate about technology, and if you want to see more videos like these, if you want to see my takes on different things happening in tech right now, then click the subscribe button. My name is Hashir Beg. I'm a software engineer turned founder. I'm currently running a team of engineers and designers, and we help clients build their tech ideas into tech products. If you like to work with me, drop me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to talk. Thank you.